Okay, folks, we're ready for episode 3 in Portland Transport's interview with the king of TriMet, Neil Mcfarlane.
So shifting into the realm of service planning, you've been doing a series of service enhancement plans for different districts or different regions around your district. We've had comments from readers that there seemed to be some relatively new density in the region. South Beaverton was pointed out. One of my neighbors in Northwest pointed out that the whole Conway transition area in Northwest and the North Pearl, which has a number of tall buildings slated, don't really have a lot of transit service. You're doing these planning exercises, but you're going to have the resources to add new frequent service lines or other service in those areas?
Okay, there's the $1,000,000 question. That's a very vital question. So let's hear what the Emperor has to say on that subject. I haven't heard it before either.
Well, I think, first of all, that means...
Okay, did you see what just happened there? Did you see that? He was tongue-tied. He didn't know how to answer the question. All right, so let's see how this continues here.
This sort of note, service enhancement plans, I think, have been really an important effort on our part. And as you know, we started that in the West Side, where I think literally you can sort of say the major planning efforts associated with our service were untouched by human hands since about 1996, which was...
What the hell is he talking about? You know, they've been cutting the West Side for 10 years. What did they enhance over there? I can't think of anything they've enhanced over there. I think they finally put back the frequency on the 57, and that was a big mistake to cut it back, and they should never have. What else have they done on the West Side?
Probably about the time we did the plan for the opening of the West Side Light Rail 98, and needless to say, you talk about...
He's talking about 1998. Did you hear that? He's talking about 1998.
Dramatic change. You look at Washington County, and there's been dramatic change. So we were able to come up, engage with the employers, with business groups, with neighborhood groups, with the local governments, and come up with really a consistent and commonly held vision for what transit needs to be. And then we started implementing pieces of that. So, for example, one of the first pieces that we saw was the need to make the Cornell bus a continuous bus.
Oh my Lord! He's talking about the 4748 here. This is his version of enhanced service. I think you better ask the riders on the 89 whether they feel they got enhanced service, or the former 89, which is now the 4748.
From Sunset Transit Center actually into downtown Hillsborough. And then also provide better connections between the light rail line and the Intel Ron Lahr Acres Employment Center. And
you know, I'm really glad that I'm watching this for the first time when I'm critiquing this, because my emotional reaction is more in tune to a surprise. Nobody rides the Intel bus. I got news for you guys. Nobody's riding the bus, and I have that direct from people who drive that bus.
By the way, that same line, the 47, serves PCC Rock Creek. And so we were able to put some of those readjustments and realignments of routes into place right away using essentially existing resources. So that was a realignment as opposed to new growth. And actually what we've seen is that ridership on those lines are up about 48% from where they were before.
Well, we need to see that statistic verified. He's saying the ridership is up that much because of that realignment? Well, that's an interesting... I had no idea. Now, how do we verify that? I wonder why that would be. They basically connected... What did they do? When I think about... What did it use? Oh, yeah, the 48 used to be the 88. That's right. It was an 88 that turned into a 48. Now the 48... just goes from Sunset to Hillsborough. Why would that increase service? I wonder about that. Let's verify that.
So we saw really good results of that. So that's one thing that I would say, is that there's a lot to be gained from realignment. Another aspect of that that we have worked really closely with a number of other partners on, including the city of Forest Grove, is a service called GroveLink, which is a small shuttle bus that runs locally, and actually 2 loops east and west of the downtown Hillsborough to serve as a collector-distributor within their neighborhoods, and all connecting to the 57 bus, which is that community's lifeline then into the rest of the region. So there's been a number of innovations, even though we've been in a period of time when we've not been expanding service greatly.
That's Mcfarlane's example of how great they're doing. That's pathetic, man. That's your West Side enhancement, is realigning the 4740. That's pathetic. That's truly pathetic.
Where we've been able to do some pretty responsive things. So I would say the same thing is true in every other service enhancement plan we're doing now. We've started one for the Southwest, and to a large extent, as I mentioned before, that was responsive to the citizen comments we heard in the Southwest Corridor, which is, this isn't just about getting to Portland. I want to be able to get from Tigard to Tualatin, from Tigard to Beaverton. So that effort's going on. And we're also then, as part of the local service planning for the southeast sector, where the Portland-Milwaukee line will run, underway with that plan as well. And also looking out in the east side. So my sense is that these will be visionary.
I hope you're tracking on the fact that he's saying nothing. He's saying a whole lot of nothing. It's pretty obvious.
Will be aspirational. They won't immediately all be affordable, but this is a growing region with a growing payroll tax base, and my hope is that we can, over time, begin to implement some of these changes.
You heard him, right? He doesn't have the money. He just said it. I don't have the money. The payroll tax is going to grow, he says. This is it, man. There's no money for this shit.
And is that likely to look like more frequent service lines or more local service? Do you have a sense of that?
So, well, I'll use the west side, Washington County, as an example. And what we found was, frankly, a very familiar pattern to those your readers in the Portland area, which is that they felt they had pretty good east-west service and connections into downtown, but they had pretty lousy north-south service within their local communities. And so, to a large extent, what we're finding is the need to begin to create a grid in Washington County that, to a large extent, parallels the grid of service that we have in Portland, west of 82nd Avenue. And I would tell you, we're finding exactly the same thing with the East Side Service Enhancement Plan, is that, for example, the 122nd bus line number 71, a lot of people are looking forward to that at some point in time being frequent service. I think it would be a top-notch frequent service line, but also then beginning to extend that service further east in north-south connections, connecting with what is really quite a good network east-west already. So I think, I suppose what you're beginning to find is this isn't all rocket science. There are some very challenging things about it, but we've pioneered some pretty impressive transit service here in Portland, and this system that operates in Portland between the Willamette River and 82nd actually is a pretty good model for many other parts of the region.
Okay, to his credit, he did qualify his explanation from downtown to 82nd. Downtown being is like here, 23rd to 82nd. Yeah, okay, it's all right. You can't complain. This is the point. His TriMet is Portland-based, not West Side. I mean, it's no matter how you heard his explanation for his West Side enhancement plan, it was garbage. Okay.
Right. So as in the longer-term budget years, how do you then allocate the whatever increased revenue is available between opening up new high capacity?
Mr. Smith, stop throwing softballs at Mcfarlane. He's throwing softballs at him. Look at how he's so carefully trying to avoid putting Neil on the spot. What a disappointment. Shit, I know you can do better than that, Chris.
Service versus investing in the frequent service line. What's the TriMet policy or outlook on that?
Well, part of that is, I think, going to be a regional appetite for how fast do you want to grow the transit. We have a certain level of payroll tax income, we have a certain level of fare income, and we'll always try to do the most we can with that. If somebody wants to increase our allowance, we can do more, and we can do more faster. But we're not asking for that right now. I think we've got to demonstrate that we can do the most we can with the resources we're given right now. And for example, that's why we're working so hard on our cost structure, and why there's a lot of controversy.
There you heard him again. He's admitting in this video that he's going to grow the system on the backs of his employees. Whatever he saves from us, he's going to grow the system on our backs. That's his solution. And anybody in our shoes wouldn't accept it. Okay, you made a deal, at least with the retirees. You want to change that deal forward. People that are coming to work there know what the deal is up front. But to change the deal for the people that have already been there and retired under one other deal, that's the most unethical thing you can do to somebody.
I think that TriMet can't get any lower in the way they do things. We had this situation with Lane Jensen. Okay, I know he was a pain. Everybody knows he was annoying. But the way you're handling this is really off the edge, okay? It's really, you've gone off the deep end, for 10 years in jail for an annoying pain in the neck. Really, it shocked even me that this kind of thing would happen. I always expect the worst, too, but that? So really, can you please come up a little bit in the way you're doing business and stop using this hammer to deal with people that you don't appreciate?